Good morning, world.
Good morning. Well, you guys are in for a treat today. While I was in Orlando, Florida, Brian had the great opportunity to interview one of the candidates to fill the seat by Stephen Breyer as Supreme Court Justice. Stay tuned for that interview. You don't want to miss it. I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian, and this is Cedric and Brian. Welcome, everybody, today. I did get the opportunity, while Cedric was in Florida, to interview one of the candidates for the Supreme Court of the United States.
I'm bummed I missed that.
I know. For those of you who watch Cedric and Brian, that's kind of a big deal. We usually don't get, the big names, so this might be on our way.
Right.
Tom McDonald's next.
Right. Well, we keep pushing for that. Keep pushing for that. So how did you get in touch with this person?
They actually reached out to me.
Okay.
Yeah, they reached out somehow. I don't know if their people or whoever saw our channel and thought, for some reason, that Cedric and Brian would be one of the places to see. Her name is Claire Brown. I don't know if you've seen her in the news. So she's one of the candidates. So I had the opportunity to sit down.
Awesome.
With her one-on-one. As you'll see, she was kind of upset that you weren't there to meet also. Yeah. But... you were in the free state of Florida.
Yes, it was good. Good stuff.
It looks like you got a tan.
Minus the big, humongous bugs that can carry you off and humidity. It was all great. All right. I'm excited. I haven't seen this yet, so I want to see it.
Good. But before we get to that, are you prepared?
Like Brian says, are you prepared? Do you have enough food, water, and other essentials to get you through tough times? If not, check out My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's #1 preparedness company, and they've served millions of American families just like yours. Right now, you can save 25% off their popular 4-week emergency food kit, which will keep you well fed for 4 weeks worth of breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, and snacks, totaling over 2,000 calories a day. This food stays fresh for up to 25 years in proper storage, so it will be there when you need it. In fact, you may need it a lot sooner than that.
So don't wait. Go to www.preparewithcedricandbrian.com. That's www.preparewithcedricandbrian.com. Okay. And I know one of our watchers out there, do you remember his name, said, can we do a different Patriot Supply ad?
Right.
I'll work on another Patriot Supply ad, but you get the point, and those pancakes look good. I don't care what Cedric's face looked like on that. He did like those. We ate them all.
Yes, pancakes were good. So this is an interview with Claire Brown.
Claire Brown.
And she's one of the candidates for the vacant seat for Supreme Court Justice. Okay.
Yep. The reason that I even got the opportunity to do this interview is because Stephen Breyer, who's been a Supreme Court Justice for I don't know how many years, and he's in his 80s, so he's not a young guy. But the reason that he is retiring, and I don't even know he's being retired, I would call it he's being
forced
retired,
out to pasture,
because they don't want to happen what happened with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Now, obviously, Joe Biden's the president, questionably.
Yeah.
But the Democrats are worried that the Republicans are going to take over the House and the Senate come November.
Yes.
And they're worried that if they don't get somebody in now, then it's going to be blocked. So at this point, they still control all the cogs of government.
Yeah.
And so they want to make sure that they can pick the person, which is kind of funny because either way, Biden's going to get his pick. Whether you wait before or after November. And it's going to be a liberal judge replaced by a liberal judge.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a deal. It was a much bigger deal when Trump got to appoint 3.
He took Amy Coney Barrett and put her in place of
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Yeah.
So and they said that the only reason that she was there was to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, which may happen.
Yeah.
So whatever you feel about abortion itself, the Constitution doesn't really fit what happened with Roe v. Wade. Okay. So whether you're pro-life or pro-choice or whatever terms you want to use, that decision at least I believe, that decision by the Supreme Court wasn't really constitutional. So I just wanted to preface that for those of you who aren't into politics and you follow mainly for music reviews, the reason that I got this interview is because we are losing a Supreme Court justice. He's not dead, but he is kind of being forced out to pasture.
Yes.
So for that, I got this great interview, and you ready to watch that now?
I'm ready to watch it. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Roll 'em. Good afternoon. I'm here today with Miss Claire Brown, who is a candidate for the Supreme Court to fill the vacancy. Claire, I want to thank you for taking time out. I know you have a busy schedule with the President of the United States calling upon you. But I want to ask you some questions just to see what kind of candidate you're going to be for the Supreme Court.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I really enjoy your show. I'm just so sorry I didn't get a chance to meet Cedric. I was looking forward to meeting him.
He's in Florida this week.
Oh,
so
great place.
Tell me a little bit about where you're from, your childhood. Where'd you grow up?
Well, I grew up in the West LA area through middle school, and during high school, my family moved to Hollywood, and that's where I spent a lot of my formative years.
Did you do sports or anything in high school?
Yes, went to a local public school, Fairfax High School there in Los Angeles, and ran track, played basketball, and baseball.
Were you more of the athlete?
I kind of bounced back and forth. Sports was my thing, but I also had a big love for theater. Okay. And so I was in a lot of plays, a lot of dramas, a lot of musicals. It was an incredible time.
Oh, good. And then after that, you went to college?
Yes, I went to college at Loyola Marymount, a small school there in the West LA area, and there I got my undergrad and my BA.
Okay. Were you political at all?
Not really, but there were just some things that, especially living in that LA area, some things were brought to my attention. And so I just became political kind of out of necessity because I wanted to stand up for the rights of the little people.
So you did activism then? You were involved in some activism, or would you call it activism?
Yeah, I guess back then you call it activism. Like I said, I want to stand up for the little people and let their voice be heard because people like that just didn't have a voice. And I said, if I can give them a voice, then I'm doing my part.
Okay. And again, I'm sorry, what was your major in college?
My major in college was social sciences. And
did you always want to get into the law? Did you want to be a judge when you were growing up?
Yes, my family always came to me. I just had a knack for it. Whenever there were discrepancies and fights within the family, they would go, let's see what Claire has to say. And so they would come to me and I would solve a lot of the disputes. So I just had a knack for solving other people's problems.
So then from your undergrad, then obviously you went to law school.
Oh, one would assume that, wouldn't one? But no, I did not attend law school.
Oh, you didn't attend law school?
No.
Okay, but you want to be a Supreme Court justice, which is basically you're a judge. Don't you need a law degree or at least a background in law?
Well, yeah, like I had alluded to earlier, Brian. Well, yes, I did have a background in law in solving discrepancies and problems of that nature, but that's a big misconception that a lot of people have. As long as I have some experience with law, one does not necessarily have to be a lawyer.
Oh, okay. So to be called upon to the highest court in the nation, you don't have to have a law background. That's just a misnomer.
Exactly.
Okay. But isn't it true that all of the Supreme Court justices have been lawyers or judges?
Well, yeah, but it's kind of weird that they all are, aren't they? It's not necessary, and that's what the diversity that I bring to the team will offer, is that I have a different background than the most of them.
That's positive, then, that you're bringing something different from the outside.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so you believe you are qualified for the Supreme Court. What are your qualifications, other than solving family disputes? What would you say your qualifications are to be on the Supreme Court?
Well, if you listen to our president, Joe Biden, I love that man. He's incredible. If you listen to him, the qualifications are pretty evident, aren't they?
I'm sorry, you're going to have to help me with that. What qualifications are you referring to?
Joe Biden alluded to it very clearly that I'm the type of individual he's looking for. Intelligence, experience, diversity, love for people, things of that nature, yes.
Oh, so what did President Biden say to get you interested in this position?
Well, it all started with, a lot of people don't know this, but me and Kamala Harris, we have a friendship that goes way back. We used to go out partying together, and that's where we met old sweet Willie Brown. I miss that man so much. And when he was picking his vice president, he said, I am looking for someone like Kamala Harris. I'm sure you remember her qualifications. And I have very similar ones.
Okay. Could you expand on that? What are those qualifications?
Well, like I said, I'm different. And that's what Joe Biden's looking for. He wants someone who doesn't fit the mode. 94% of the people fall into a certain category, but I'm part of that 6% that is completely off the scale.
Can you tell me what he was exactly looking for?
Well, looking for someone who's nurturing and caring and has a love and concern for others. And when you think of nurturing, what do you think of?
A mother?
See, you have been listening.
I see. So like Kamala Harris, Joe Biden said he wanted a woman of color. Is that what you're alluding to? Did Joe Biden say he wanted a woman of color to be the next
Absolutely.
Supreme Court judge? Okay.
Yes, he did. And obviously I fit those two qualifications very well. I am a woman of color and who's very nurturing.
So do you think that is the primary characteristic you have, or are there other characteristics that make you qualified for the job?
Oh, no, let me be very clear, very clear. I have a plethora, a multitude of experiences and knowledge and know-how that qualifies me for this position.
Okay, I had my producers sent me this. They said that you haven't always been Claire Brown. They said that you were Charles Brown at one point.
Oh, they call me Charlie.
Okay. And so if I may ask, just let me know if I'm overstepping, but are you a transgender female?
Well, I mean, that's, if you have to put a label on it, you know how this world is. We like to label things. I guess so, which helps with the diversity and the experience.
Okay, so you actually bring more to the table because you check off one more box then. Is that
yes,
correct?
Because I was thinking if Kamala can check off 2 boxes, have someone like me who checks off 3 or 4 boxes, how can you go wrong?
I think that you might be a shoo-in for this.
I think so. I think if that's what Joe is looking for, because he stated very clearly he is looking for a black woman. And as you can obviously see, I am a black woman.
Okay.
What do
you say so?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, you weren't born a woman.
Well, that seems to be irrelevant. I am a woman now because that's how I feel.
Do you think you're going to have trouble getting through the Senate confirmation?
Oh, no, not at all. Especially because it's hard to say no to someone who has my qualifications without any pushback.
Okay, so you don't think your lack of actual law experience is going to hold you back?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time, and thank you for coming all the way down here. I'm sorry that you didn't get to meet Cedric.
Oh.
He's going to be so disappointed that he didn't.
I know he will. When I look at him on that screen and... Anyway, forgive me.
Well, do you have anything you want to say to the people directly before you go? This is your platform to say why you would be a great candidate for the Supreme Court of the United States.
Sure. People of American citizens, our world has been in turmoil for the last 2 or 3 years with the lockdowns of 2020 and all the racial strife. If you want someone who stands for you, who stands for justice, may I strongly suggest that you think of me, Claire Brown, when you think of justice and all the qualifications and things that I can do for you and for this country. I am the right woman for the job.
Well, thank you very much, and I wish you luck.
Yes, thank you. All right, that was an interesting interview. I'm kind of bummed I missed that.
Yeah.
This is wrong to say. Very, very big arms. Very, can I say, Michelle Obama-esque? The arms are very strong and.
Well, as Claire said in the interview, Charles or Charlie was what Claire was known by before, and and as we discussed, not only would it be the first black female justice on the Supreme Court, but it would tick another box, and it would be a transgender, which we know Biden likes because if you look at his...
if we're going to play the intersectionality game...
Well, look at the general here that we saw from episodes past, that he wanted to make sure he got the first transgender, 4-star or 3-star, whatever general.
Yeah.
Of course, that's a man. It's not a woman. It's not the first female, but...
And this is what's terrible. I mean, because I understand what you're doing there, but it's part of the game that they're playing, because he said that right up front before he hired Kamala. He said, I want a black female. Now, that automatically gets rid of 94% of candidates out there.
Right.
But like you're saying that, why not take it one step forward and get a black transgender?
Well, that's why I told Claire that, I go, you're a shoo-in, because you are even further down or further up, whichever way you want to look at it, on the intersectionality hierarchy. So a black female obviously is way up there,
Right.
but a black trans female I don't think it gets any higher than that.
And I know you can't ask this question. What stage is Claire in? Because not very attractive. At what stage of the process is Claire in? Because you can still see like a prominent Adam's apple.
Yeah, I don't know. We did not get into that, as you saw from the interview. Claire seemed to be taken a little bit aback when I did ask her about that. So I don't know.
And I want to apologize if you want to send me some hateful comments about said you have no right to comment on Claire's looks. Fine, I can take the visceral hate. I just felt like it needed to be said. That's all.
Yeah, and I mean, Ruth Bader Ginsburg wasn't the most attractive. Obviously, some people thought Clarence Thomas was attractive because he had that whole, smear campaign with Anita Hill.
Yeah. And if I could steal a line from that old classic State Farm commercial, she sounded hideous.
Yeah, well, you're going through the transition. I don't know. Again, here's the blurry line with the trans issue. And we talk about this on our other episodes about the athletes. Have they had the surgery yet? Do you have to have the surgery to be trans? Apparently you don't have to have the surgery to be trans. I don't even know if you really have to have hormone therapy. I think they do the hormone therapy just so that they don't grow facial hair and things like that. But I don't think it's a prerequisite. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong out there, but Claire identifies as a woman, so therefore Claire can be a woman.
Okay.
So, again, I mean, I didn't want to get into that with her because I wasn't doing the transgender. It wasn't about transgenderism. It was about another candidate for the Supreme Court.
But when it comes to filling spots like this, when it comes to hiring in the workplace, when are we going to go back to, like Martin Luther King said, we're going to judge people by not the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And it was really a damn shame that she really couldn't get into a lot of her credentials and the experience and things that she will do to be a great Supreme Court justice. But it was based on intersectionality politics. I'm black and I'm a woman or whatever else.
And I think
down.
And I think Claire knows that, because if you saw when I asked the questions about that, Claire said, well, I have just as much experience as the next person, but we know, and it is true, and Claire brought up a good point, that there's nothing written that says you have to have a law degree,
right,
or you have to be a lawyer or a judge. It just so happens that that's who's on the Supreme Court. And it would make sense. If you're going to have justices, they're judges. They're basically judging things. They should be a judge. They should have a law degree. So I think that could be the one thing. So we have to balance it. So Claire doesn't have a law degree, but she checks off 3 intersectional boxes.
Right.
And President Biden basically said he wants a black woman.
You know what scares me? Because what he could do is, and I heard this from someone else, what if, and I'm just playing what if here, what if he took Kamala out of the vice president role and stuck her in the Supreme Court justice role, and then reached out and grabbed Hillary and put her in the vice president role?
But you know why that wouldn't happen? Because Kamala is the deciding vote in the Senate right now.
Oh, jeez.
So if you pull her out, it's a 50-50 tie. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Man, could you imagine?
But and then I wish Joe would look at. Sometimes you have to look at historical evidence and decisions that you made in the past. When Biden stood up there and said, "I'm going to hire a black female for vice president," and maybe I'm being mean or cruel, but how is that working out for him so far?
Yeah, I know.
It was a terrible decision. Not because I'm not hating on her because she's black. I'm not hating her because she's a woman. I am hating on her because she is the worst vice president that we've ever had. Yeah. I don't think we've ever had a vice president with a lower approval rating in the history of vice presidency.
Yeah, not in our lifetime anyway.
It's a damn shame.
Damn shame. And the problem is, and this is what's funny, because the Supreme Court now has to adjudicate some affirmative action cases where they're trying to get rid of, some places are trying to get rid of, or they're being sued for Harvard and North Carolina, I think. Two of the universities are getting sued with these affirmative action laws, saying that's not constitutional. Right. It's against the 14th Amendment, right? Mm-hmm. And so now you're having a president say, I'm going to assign somebody by race and gender, and that goes against everything that we, as a society, said we shouldn't do.
Yeah, and we don't think about it. We think we're helping out minorities, whether they be by color or by gender. But just think for a minute, if someone had stood there and said, yeah, I'm going to hire a Supreme Court justice, and it's going to be a white male.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
But they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, I know. Well, and what did I hear? It's your two wrongs don't make a right. So just because in the past maybe all they did is appoint white males to the Supreme Court, so now you're going to do the same thing. You're going to pick somebody solely on their gender and their race. So you're basically, and you were taught that if you were raised when me and Cedric were raised, two wrongs don't make a right. And what they're trying to do is say, no, we're going to fix one wrong with another wrong. Yeah. And it's just...
Let's combat racism with racism.
Yeah, so... But I hope you liked that interview. We can't wait to hear your comments on it and what you think about Claire Brown.
You didn't give Claire my contact information, did you?
She knows our contact information here. So
right.
Hopefully she'll comment on it. Hopefully she doesn't mind us talking about the interview afterwards. So
okay. All right. Well, hope you guys liked that video. My goodness, it was weird. Anyway.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell and share this video with everyone you know.
And continue being good to each other. Until next time, I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian. We'll see you later.
Claire in because not very attractive. Dude, we had
I'm sorry. I'm just looking at your face. I saw Claire. Okay, you're going to have to set that up again.
All right. Oh, jeez. All right.
Oh, God, that's hard.
Okay. Dude, we had it.
Hold on, we gotta wait a minute. Let me get a drink. Okay. Oh, Jesus. I'm not good at not. Once I get the giggles, I'm
Oh, you just keep it focused on me. I'll try.
Okay.